Wow. Hi there. Welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Hello, guys.
So, everybody, this is Arnaud, Bergasse in Languedoc in Saint-Chinian, and I put a little map up here, and I think you can click on it to see. So that's the coast, and it's, I think, easiest to go up from Spain to orient yourself. So, Arnaud, introduce you got yourselves, and then tell me all about where you are and what you guys are doing.
So we are two brothers. So Nicolas is my grand brother, and we are established in Saint-Chinian. So you can see the map. Is the sound good for you?
Yes, very good, perfect.
That's great because it's a bit windy actually in Saint-Chinian.
Ah, you can't
so,
tell.
Yeah, no. So the map is quite perfect because we are located in the appellation Saint-Chinian. In the north part, which is mostly on chalk soils. Then we are a family estate that we own since 1551. So we've got a long story behind us.
That is long. So that's why you're, yeah, tell us about the Chateau, the history, and we'll go into terroir and all that, because the handle is 1551. I like that you do that.
So for the history, we cannot tell you stories about 1551, but it was the first document we had. So nowadays we have around 45 hectares, nearly 50 hectares of vines. I don't know the translation in acres because I think in US you speak in acres.
Yeah, but most wine people, I mean, I think in hectares, but I believe it's 2.5. Let me think. Steve, you know this, or Eva. It's a 2.5 one way or the other, but a hectare is bigger than an acre. I think
it's
2.5.
I think
Anyways,
it's 4 times.
Say again?
I think it is 4 times. 1 hectare is 4 acres, I think.
Oh, there we go. 2.2, Steve says. I can never remember. But anyways, so continue.
So we are lucky because we have 3 different terroirs in the domain, in the vineyard, and we've got some rolled pebbles near the river. I'm gonna show you quickly the terroirs, and then if you want to ask a few questions, you can.
Great.
So you can see just. I don't know the connection. We are on the top hillside of the appellation, so normally the connection must be good.
Yeah, it's good.
So I'm gonna give you a global view.
And Arnaud, if it's easier, so you can hit on the camera. You can flip the screen so you can just point your phone.
To have a full view there. Okay.
Up on the top. Up
on here. The other side.
Yeah, there you go. It's so pretty there.
I don't know if we can do a full screen with that, but anyway, we can see on the bottom of the mountains. It's not really mountains, but so there's the domain which is here.
Okay.
And the first terroir is near the river, so on the right side here. You've got a lovely river, which name is the Orbe. And then on the flat land just around the domain, you've got some IGP wines. I'm going to show you the bottles just after. But so after you climb on limestone terraces, you follow the first hillside. You've got a little block here, and which is limestone terraces. So that means the wines are a bit more concentrated, more flavorful. And then we've got from here, so we are on the top hillside, which are kind of sandstones, so very drainy soils. So you can see the first 7, the Caroux. This is a nice point of view. And I saw your precedent video with other winemakers. You can see here the vines are not the best, but we already have the leaves of the vines. So we are a bit earlier than other region because of the sun and the warmness.
Okay.
So here it is. Then there's this terroir. So the top is about 200 meters high, so which is not very high. Like Thomas from Le Grand Verdus said, of the Bordeaux hillside. So we are in competition with the size of the mountains.
There you go. What
So
Beth
Thomas
was
didn't
asking,
check
what's
if it's
the altitude there?
connected, but yeah, we
I
are. Yeah,
didn't see
you
him.
can
That's funny.
on the little mountain I show you on the other side.
Yeah.
You can reach 1,000 meters high.
Okay.
So, but there's no vines on this altitude. We
Okay.
can, but the terroir is not pretty good. So yeah, like I told you about the different terroirs. So the first we talked about, which is hello Elizabeth. That's cool. That's from Viranel. It's just been connected. So hello everybody. So the first terroir we've seen on the rolled pebbles permit us to produce the trilogy range, which is one of the more not funny but fruity wines we've got, because the blend is made with old Alicante, which is a bit more than 80 years old. And so the Alicante Boucher, you may know it, but that's very funny because that gives lots of freshness, lots of acidity. That's quite necessary to have this kind of freshness. It's the breakfast in US, no? It's 10 a.m. That's cool. So you are drinking your coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the first terroir. So the Alicante, we also have another cuvée which is Arôme Sauvage, 100% Alicante Boucher. So this one is really, really fun. It's something a bit atypic because there's no blend. So, and this grape variety was used to color the wines, to make big volumes. So nowadays we use it with very low yields, kind of 25 hectoliters hectare, so very, very low. And we try to push the extraction, the maceration a long time to give something fit for the wine bar. It's quite fun. Yeah.
Both of those wines you mentioned freshness. Where does that come from? The altitude, or picking a little early, or?
Oh, the freshness. I'm gonna let my brother Nicolas talk about the of the
Can you repeat that? I was talking.
I'm here for to try to explain the technical information, I guess.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay.
No, that's one of the typicity of the Alicante Boucher. This variety is brings a very which is very of our blend. To compare, for example, with a black Grenache Noir, maximum 3. For the Alicante, it's around 4.5 to 5 point of acidity. Interesting freshness.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, totally. Okay. Does the altitude have an impact there, or not so much?
Not so much. Not so much. The Alicante is not allowed. We run the Alicante on the lowlands in rolled pebble, and it's lowest soils we have.
And
you can watch the color. It's special. Oh man!
Doesn't matter.
What makes the IGP? What's different when you have to label it IGP? Is it when it's 100%?
The thing is that the Alicante Boucher is not allowed at all in the appellation wines, so we're not allowed to put some in the blends. So talking about the trilogy, which is a blend of Alicante, Syrah, and Cab. It's an IGP wine, and the Arôme Sauvage, which is 100% Alicante, that one is also IGP wine.
Okay.
It was just for the color. It's
That's
a very
beautiful.
Arnaud wanted to show you the color of the Alicante. It's we call it a Teinturier variety. I don't know the word in English.
It's the same word. Meaning the flesh is colored also.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. The pulp is also very, very dark colored. So it's just impossible to produce a rosé, for example, with that variety. And it brings a very intense, very dark color.
So can you tell us if a wine is labeled Saint-Chinian, what is the blend going to be, or what's typical?
Sorry, it has been cut.
If you label a wine Saint-Chinian, what blend is that going to be?
It's the traditional varieties of Saint-Chinian are the Carignan and the Grenache. And the other important varieties are Mourvèdre and Syrah.
Arnaud's being silly behind you. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
I figured.
Yeah, 40 years supporting that.
Well, you guys certainly are not like other winemakers. I have to say, that's why I was excited to talk to you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
team.
He's drunk already, so it doesn't matter.
And did you have a good full day of work over there today?
Yeah, everyone is confined. If that makes sense in English.
Yeah.
It's confined with the COVID, and we're working there, so could be worse.
So you're spread out. Yeah. What do each of you do in the family? What's your role at the winery?
He's drinking a lot.
I finish the stock, the other stock, I drink it.
And I try to produce wine, and he drinks it. I'm mostly we share the work, but I'm mostly taking care of the vineyard, the production, and the cellar, and he's more into the commercial, the sales. But it's very linked, so we do both.
Okay. And normally this time of year, what would you be doing in the winery, including travel, and how is that different now under the quarantine?
Well, the only different thing is that no bottles are getting out of the winery. We are not selling any bottles at the moment, or very, very few. So we're not preparing pallets and orders. But in the vineyard, that's a season when there is plenty of work.
Yeah.
So it's very, very busy in the vineyard. As this guy said, the vintage is 2 weeks early compared to normal vintages. So it's already with a lot of leaves, and yeah, we as you can see, we start plowing. We try to work as, we're not certified organic, but we try to work as organic as we can. So we don't use any spray for bad weeds. We are doing mechanically by plowing.
Okay.
So
Nicole missed which wine you're drinking. You're drinking the Alicante Boucher.
Yeah, I was on the Alicante Boucher. So yeah, it was just to show you the density of the wine and the color, the dark color with that. Very intense violet.
Actually, it shows over the. That's cool. Go ahead.
It's a bit too warm outside to drink some red, but we're happy with it.
It's never that warm. We're very jealous. So do people have other questions, or tell us more about I don't know, the Saint-Chinian? I'm fascinated because I've never been there. I was recently in the Languedoc and just struck by how pretty it is and spread out and just gorgeous.
Yeah, we've got lots of hillsides, and the fact which is quite funny and a bit complex in Saint-Chinian is that we have two different terroirs. We've got some, like I told you, like some limestone terraces, mostly limestones, very chalky soils, and we've got some schist. And the appellation is trying to to have a new, how would you say that, a new communication around these two terroirs, because for the consumers it's a bit complex.
Yeah.
And to explain, we've got some chalk, we got some schist, and we also have, but not in appellation, some rolled pebbles. So it's quite a bit complex for the final consumer to understand everything, and also for us. So that's why you can, really depends of the spot where you are, but as you can see, the background is very nice. So on the low part you will have some limestones and the schist, which are issued from mostly compression of the geologic movements. A little slice of Nicolas told me quite a good thing for people is that in here we are trying to have little plots little block like this one, which are located in the middle of the garrigue. So I don't know if everybody understands the word or the term garrigue, but it's a kind of forest we have. It's a pine tree like that. These are very flavory grass, like lavande, romarin, stuff which can bring some licorice flavors in the wine. And that's very important because all this ecosystem, which is between the floor and the animals, permit to give natural fight for the disease. So there's kind of balance between the garrigue and the vines, and this is a point which is very important for us. I saw many different interview interesting that you had last week with different winemakers, and I think this is a global point and very something very important for all the winemakers who want to do the difference with the vines, is to try to have really little block and keep the nature around.
I'm seeing that more and more, the diversity. Beth had asked how far you are from the ocean, and then Steve wanted to ask about viticulture, and particularly, again, Beth, but what the soil types and which grapes grow on the soil types. So kind of three questions there.
Gotcha.
First question was the ocean. The ocean is very far. The Mediterranean Sea is about 40 kilometers.
Okay.
But the ocean is very far. There's no there's no impact from the ocean.
That's what I meant.
Well, actually, the impact of the ocean stops in Cabardes. If you know this appellation, there's Saint-Chinian and Minervois, and Cabardes is a little bit further west. And the impact of the ocean, the influence of the ocean stops there. So only Mediterranean influence here in Saint-Chinian.
Okay.
That was for the first question. What was the other one?
The viticulture practices you use.
Viticulture practices. So as I told you, we are not certified organic, but we try to do our maximum to work this way. So no spraying for the bad weeds. We try to stay on copper and sulfur to fight against the oidium and the mildew. And we're not using any chemical fertilizers. We do our own compost with marc de raisin, what we get from the distillery after the vinification, the distillation. We get back the marc de raisin, we compost it for a year, and we bring it back to the vineyard.
So all the vine exports to do the grape, the fruit, all the material that it exports, we bring it back to the soil. So there's a balance in the soil which exists since our father began, so a long time ago. And nowadays we don't need anything else than this kind of compost. This is the natural way, the best natural way to work.
And then back to, sorry, you had mentioned two different soil types. Which grapes grow on the different soils, or what's best?
Uh, any grapes can grow on any type of soil, but there's a we know by experience that certain type of soils are more efficient to get a lot of tannins. Like for example, on the top hillside here, the what we call the cress soils, they bring a lot of tannins. So we mostly grow red variety and specifically Syrah and Grenache on it to get some very powerful wines. And on the rolled pebble down the river banks, we don't get so much power, so much tannins. So we work on a more fruity style of wine, more finesse, elegancy, drinkability. But it can be Syrah, it can be Cab, it can be any varieties.
Okay. And are you affected by the Tramontane? Is that the wind that's there right now?
Yep. Yep.
Can you
Northwest.
Can you explain the Tramontane for people?
Yeah, it's very simple. The region where we are, it's really simple because there's two main wind. One coming from the south, where the Mediterranean is. This south wind brings humidity, and rain. And the Tramontane comes from the northwest, and it brings the sunshine and dries out. So this is a real help for us because it dries out all the humidity present on the plants. So there's very little pressure of mildew in the region.
Okay.
Very little. The oidium can be a problem, but the mildew, thanks to the Tramontane, is not really impacting us.
Beth again had asked, do you see much variation per vintage, or is the climate change affecting things?
It is affecting, yeah. It is affecting, especially with strong phenomenon. I don't know. My English is not good enough to explain it, but
tell it in French. Steve can translate if there's any word in his French. So.
No, it affects the temperature are getting higher and higher.
Okay.
Last year in June we had I think it was 43 or 44 degree, and the majority of a lot of the vineyard burned in the Languedoc, in the department of Hérault, Gard, well, all the area around here. We had a lot of problems with this. Yeah, it affects. It's difficult for me to explain it, but
are you leaving more leaves on to provide shade for the grapes then?
Not really. We don't take on n'effeuille pas. We don't effeuille. We don't take off the leaves like it can be done in humid regions, like in Bordeaux, in Burgundy. They will take off the leaves where the grapes are for the humidity to go out. We don't do it. We never did it.
I see. Okay, thank you for that.
The leaves are mostly a protection for the sun, because some winemakers prefer to let the sun enter the vines, but in our region it's mostly efficient to leave a protection for the sun because it's very strong.
I want to back up a little bit and just ask very, very broadly how Saint-Chinian is different from the other neighboring appellations. Like if I just see a Saint-Chinian in the wine store, what am I going to expect, and how is that different from the rest of Languedoc?
It's much better.
Of course.
I be honest. Saint-Chinian, one of the force of Saint-Chinian is to have really conscientious winemakers and producers and wine growers, and that makes a really force of the appellation. There's, as Arnaud explained, there's two main zones in Saint-Chinian. The schist, which is close to Fougères, northeast,
Mm-hmm.
and the limestone, the chalky clay soils, which are south, and which can be compared to Minervois. And actually, these two appellations makes also good wines. But one of our force is the diversity of terroir and the quality of the people working in the vineyard here.
Clearly.
Yeah, because we are lots of producers to tell about of course, the soils are very important, but every winemakers, lots of region now have chalky soils or schist of or cress or anything else. So the difference is apart from the exposition, the soil, the dryness, etc. But yeah, the profile of the winemakers, the job we do in the cellar, in the winery is the point. As you may know, if you harvest a great fruit, you just have to be meticulous the vinification. So all the job is there's the yeah. I'm a bit lost in my explanation. Sorry about that.
I think that's clear.
It's the Alicante effect.
And so, have you shown us? Have you shown us both your wines, or do you make more than the two that you showed us?
Of course, we've got one of our best sales, which is the Tradition. So this one, which have been awarded with gold medal in Paris. We are not running after the medals, but yeah, it's a good opportunity for us. And this one is well working with Regal Wine. So big up to all the importers who are connected. So we are happy for. Thank you for your job and all the energy you put in our wines. So this is the Tradition Rosé, which also received the gold medal in Paris. Many different reviews also. So which is a rosé from old vines, and that gives something quite gastronomic, very interesting. Yeah. Beautiful. So these are the Tradition. So this cuvée, the first one we've seen is the Trilogy. So I told you this one was on the rolled pebbles terroir.
Yeah.
Then the Tradition are on limestone, so just a bit higher. And then you've got another range with that we call the signatures, with the V, which is a blend of Syrah and Grenache, 60% Syrah, 40% Grenache. And yeah, this one is one of our best red, very concentrated, lots of expression of the terroir. And the fact we explains with the ecosystem is really impacting on this wine. So there's quite a big signature of the terroir on this one. Yeah, this one is a big. It has been selected 13th best wine of the year by the Decanter a few years ago, but yeah, that's a quite very big review.
Yeah,
and we've got lots of other satellites like the Arôme Sauvage, the 100% Alicante Boucher. And we've got a Cartagena, which is very nice, like Gourmandise, which is made with the Alicante Boucher, and that we age. We began that 25 years ago in Solera method. So it's something a bit atypical. But I invite all the person who are connected to check the website, because it's very clear, very interesting to see the difference of the soil. So it's Viranel.com, of course. Yeah, and then everybody's connected on Instagram, so no need to say about it.
Yeah, that link is in your profile, and if y'all want to follow the Regal, scroll up, you can see the Regal handle, and I'm also going to try to post some retail places that sell your wine, because I think I also need that rosé this summer. I hope that's already intense. Steve, is the rosé arrived yet in New York?
Yeah, I think so. Awesome. It's much better than the coffee, sure. Thank you, Beth. Yeah,
well, your website. The website is fun. There's a lot of it's very lighthearted, and that makes it much more enjoyable than just facts and figures. So I really like that. Well, I'm going to let you go. I really appreciate your time. Thank you to the whole Regal team for helping me put this together. And it's really a pleasure to meet you guys and to see where we are. I started this project to give people a view of outside, and it's really paid back. I've made some friends, and it's been fun to share some wines that people might not know, and to be very jealous of the rosé in the background there. So thanks again. This has been such a pleasure.
So thank you. Thanks a lot for your time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all the distributors we have, so all the importers who are working with us. That's very important for us, and especially in these complicated moments. Everybody may have some person in difficulties, so finger crossed for the rest of the COVID, the coronavirus, and be strong, drink wine. And Jeff, just stop the coffee. It's not good for you.
That's
Drink wine
decaf. It's
again.
my third cup. It's decaf. Thank you so much. Yeah, everybody be safe and be strong and stay in touch, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.